Hi, everyone. As many of you know, the YMP Award recognizes two young mining professionals, a male and a female, who over the past year and during the course of their career have demonstrated exceptional leadership skills and an innovative thinking to provide value for their companies and their shareholders and themselves. And this interview today is about getting to know the winner, their path, who they look up to, and according to them, what qualities it takes to be a good leader. In simple terms, the interview is about getting to know the winners on a more personal level. So our YMP Award winner this year is Alex Dorsch. Alex, congratulations for winning the award.
Thank you, Bianca. Yeah, it's great, obviously, to be recognised. So yeah, thanks to the YMP for the fantastic award. Very happy to be talking to you.
Amazing. Would you mind just introducing yourself like briefly, and then we can start with the questions?
Yeah, so I'm the Managing Director and CEO of Chalice Mining, an ASX 200 company here in Australia. I've been with the company about 4 years. Before joining Chalice, I was a specialist consultant at McKinsey, the international consultancy. And then actually I was in the oil and gas sector as an engineer and project manager. And then I originally studied mechanical engineering and finance at the University of Adelaide. But in the last 10 years, I've lived in Perth here in Western Australia.
Okay, great. That's really interesting. I was about to ask you, how do you start your career? But I think that's a full picture. So let me just dive into like the more serious questions. So
Sure.
who or what comes to mind when we're talking about success or to be successful?
Yeah, look, I think it's a good question. I think I see success as, the metric is those who can be recognized and make achievement, over and over again. I think that's in my mind, that definition of success. It's not so much the one-off achievement or those individual accolades. It's really success in my mind is people and businesses that can really achieve and do a lot better than their peers over a long time period, and they have repeated success. So I think that sort of characterizes in my view that the definition of success, and to a degree I think that's translatable in your career, but also your personal life. So it's not a pure career definition. I think you have to have both sides.
And is there someone in the industry you look up to? It could be more than one person as well.
Yeah, look, I think when I started out at Chalice, I joined under the leadership and I guess the guidance of our founder and major shareholder, Tim Goyder. So Tim has a stable of companies here in Perth. All have been very successful, largely in the minerals exploration sector, but also he's had some success in oil and gas exploration as well. So you really, I look up to him in terms of his entrepreneurial qualities, and really that mix of being able to really do business with anyone and everyone, but to be very commercially savvy while interacting with I guess the market, the individual, the company. So I really look up to him as I guess a mentor, and where I started my journey at Chalice, and then I think being an exploration company, it's hard not to sort of look up to the big success stories over the last few decades in mineral exploration, and obviously someone in your part of the world, Robert Friedland, probably comes to mind as one of those people who manages to have that success over and over again. So there's that characteristic there that's inherent in those individuals, that they show time and time again that they can they make these big standout type of achievements.
And just to shift gear a bit on a more personal level, what advice would you give to your 20-year-old self?
Yeah, it's a hard question. It's hard to I'm 35 this year, so
Yeah, I
But
mean the gap
like,
is not that big.
thank you. No, it's nice to reminisce about me as a 20-year-old. So I enjoy that thinking of that question. I think in my mind, I think that one of the keys to success and what I would tell my 20-year-old self is don't be afraid of taking risk very young in your very early in your career, but also, while you're young, you can tolerate a lot more risk, I think, than what probably you appreciate when you're of that age. And I think, I would say, as well as, taking having a high risk appetite, don't be afraid to sort of really seize those opportunities as they come to you in life. I think like one of the things I've done well, really, and that's led me to where I am, the head of Chalice, is really being able to be very disciplined and very quick to see an amazing opportunity. And I was able to do that, all through my career in oil and gas, but also in consulting, and then into running a mining company. So I think that's really important to sort of understand yourself, understand your risk tolerance, and then that gives you a really good ability to know whether the opportunity is worth pursuing or not when they come to you. Because I think that's what happened to me, is that opportunities came my way, and when you're thinking back to when I was 20, it wasn't obvious that was going to happen. I think people, you could be told that, but yeah, it is real. I think it's part of, I guess, that in your 20s, that's when I would call it sort of opportunity rich.
Oh, that's really good. It's a really good advice, especially for those young mining professional members that are listening. So that's really, really good. Earlier we discussed success, and now just I guess, like, to continue on that path. According to you, what are the qualities it takes to be a good leader, given your position?
Yeah, look, I think to be a leader and to be a chief executive or to be the top of an organization aren't necessarily the same thing. I think there's obviously the in the position of CEO, you are you're the head leader or the top leader of the business, but you have leaders all throughout business and all throughout life. So I think there's it's a very broad role, I think, leader in my eyes. And I think first and foremost, to be a leader is, I guess, to be good with people. I think like leaders who don't have the people side, the softer sort of skills, I think struggle in their taking their skills up to a leadership level. I think the most important characteristic of a leader is to really understand people, to be able to talk to people, be able to understand, and really, not only convey what you want them to do, but also what they want. So you need to sort of have that communication, those well-known, I guess, soft skill set to be an effective leader.
Great. And now just to go a bit outside the box, and more personal, I guess, like, do you have a morning routine, whether it's like at work or pre-work? Just out of curiosity.
I do. I've got two young kids, 2 and almost 4. So every morning, I cook them breakfast, either cook breakfast or make them their cereal for breakfast. So that's my little routine with my kids. And every second morning I try and get out and do some exercise. So I run my dog and get outside and sort of, get the blood pumping a bit. So that's my balance. I think like my kids I really value that time in the morning. It's not every evening I get to see them, just with the demands of, an executive role. So really, spending that time with them in the morning is really cherished time, and it helps me actually start my day as well.
Yeah. Oh no, that's really, really good. I like that. And then another personal question: what book have you given the most?
Sorry,
if there's any. What book have you given the most?
Yeah, look, like recently.
If there are any, like, you might say I haven't given a book.
Like recently, I guess probably the one I've sort of spoken to colleagues and contacts about the most is actually the book about Robert Friedland and the Voisey's Bay discovery of Big Short. It's a very entertaining book. That's that almost sort of has a few parallels in sort of the early stages of what Chalice has gone through with his Julimar discovery, but is really an insight into, I think for me, much more than that. It's not much more than how to handle a mineral discovery and how to. It's really about how to be the custodian of an asset or a new asset, but also be able to really sort of create the narrative around an asset and really be able to sort of talk to the asset in a very specific way. So I often talk about that book with like friends and colleagues. It's unfortunately with COVID there hasn't been a lot of handing the book to people personally. But, it's certainly one of those things that I talk to with people.
Okay, really good. And is there any plan you can share with us for 2022, whether it's like with the company or you on a personal level?
Yeah, look, I think that the company's in a amazing growth trajectory, right? So that I guess we've had 2 years now since our discovery at Julimar, and really we're just sort of really starting to unlock the belt and sort of get that first understanding of what this province is ahead of us. So that's a really exciting concept to think about the next discovery and hopefully the next discovery after that. And then I think 2022, what I see like the last 2 years have been very, very different from one another. Like since starting at Chalice, with a small company, obviously pre-discovery, now going through the discovery year, the resource definition year, now we've got to really get on with development and really sort of look at, studying the asset, defining, what the project is. So that's really, the Chalice journey ahead for 2022 is really sort of putting definition around, what does a Julimar mine look like? And then hopefully, although you can't, like with a lot of things in life, exploration is a risky game, and hopefully we're able to make that second discovery or even that third discovery. But that's really I guess core to what we're trying to do here at Chalice is to really illustrate how much is ahead of us in terms of exploration, in terms of upside. So that certainly keeps me busy from a personal perspective. So look, in 2022, I guess the novelty I see is getting on a plane again and going and being able to come over to your part of the world, being able to travel through Europe, internationally is going to be a big change, because we were when we made our discovery in early 2020 was really just coincided with the beginning of the pandemic. So there hasn't been a lot of opportunity for me to actually go and talk to my shareholders and other prospective investors. So really looking forward to that again as well.
Yeah, I bet. Any last piece of advice, Alex, you would give to our young mining professional members?
Yeah, look, I think the industry is in fantastic shape, and I think I think what we've got a setup here, which is very unique. I think like everyone knows the commodity cycle concept, but what I see is that we're in for a very favourable 5-10 year period ahead of us in terms of the mining industry. We've no doubt got challenges in terms of it's not hard, no matter where you are in the world. It's not easy to develop a greenfield project. But I think young professionals out there really need to grasp that opportunity, because let's be honest, like the mine finders and the mine builders of the last cycle are not going to be there forever. So I think the opportunity for young professionals to really position themselves, really as the mine finders of tomorrow, the mine developers of tomorrow, and the mine operators of tomorrow. So I think I think, sort of get set for a very busy, few years ahead, and hopefully, the, I guess, continued strength in a whole range of commodities.
Amazing. Well, that wraps up our interview. Thank you so much, Alex, for giving us like this interview, and we got to get to know you a bit better on a personal level. So that was really, really interesting. And we hope to see you at PDAC to celebrate you winning the YMP award. So thank you so much again, and congratulations.